In the beginning, there was...
The Bitchspot Report. Welcome to the Bitchspot Report, the conservative atheist podcast that's not afraid to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Every week, your hosts, Cephas and Mike, will take on the latest religious and political news and examine the world around us from a distinctly conservative and skeptical perspective. Join us now for this episode of the Bitchspot Report. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome to episode 40 of the Bitchspot Report, the atheist conservative podcast that isn't afraid to celebrate holidays. Hopefully, everyone is listening with a tryptophan hangover. I'm your host, Cephas, and with me, as always, is Mike, and we're going to cover the news of the day and hopefully have a good time doing it. So, how's your holiday, since you haven't had it yet?
I am chomping at the bit to get out of Detroit and back home. I'm just chomping right now.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, we're recording this a little earlier than we normally do. We're doing this on Tuesday instead of Wednesday because you got to travel tomorrow. Right. And so we're going to pretend that we're actually eating turkey and all the rest of that since this show doesn't go up until Friday. But it should actually be pretty good. I mean, we go to my cousin's house and she puts out the full spread, turkey. We end up having elk. I mean, we have all kinds of really good stuff, so. Yeah. Should be good.
I'm not sure exactly what my mom just loves, I hope she loves cooking for us. I mean, she's on her own now, so, every Sunday I'm home. We go over for, a Sunday dinner. So, I think she's already got everything ready to go, and she'll, probably not a full turkey, but maybe a turkey breast and a few other goodies. So, just like I remember being as a little kid.
Yeah, well, no, this is not turkey breast. This is probably 3 turkeys and like 20 people showing up. So it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And like 11 courses and 47 pies and, it's just kind of ridiculous, but hey, she likes to do it. So yeah. I don't complain too much. I don't have to cook. I don't want to cook.
Actually, I like cooking, so, I don't mind, helping out or whatever, but she's got it all down to a deadly science right now, so she'll probably be up at 6 o'clock as she usually is, and stuff is going to be started, and turkey in the oven, everything else kind of comes together. Now it's just usually me and my brother. Now I got another brother who's back in town, so it'd be probably the 4 of us. And then probably there'll be the trip over to the other brother. She goes crazy with food.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like, going from town to town, munching away.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure my cousin is already cooking. I'm sure she's been cooking for days.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got that much. I mean, it's like, holy crap, you've never seen that much food. But, I will be too tired to drive home, I'm sure, but I'll still have to do it. Just one of those things.
Yeah. It's always fun getting with the family and, watching the football game. I'm not a real big sports fan, but,
Oh, I hate football. And the problem is they have it on, and the only damn thing I want to watch that night is Punkin' Chunkin'. They'll put that in picture with no sound. It's like, fuck you people. Turn off the damn football. I don't care about morons running around a field. I'd rather watch science.
Right. But that's usually my cue to take my nap. I'll sleep through it all.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but of course, by the time anybody hears this, we'll already be done and we'll be, sleeping it off.
Yes.
All right, well, let's go ahead and just get on to the news. And now the news. It's never too early to start the annual War on Christmas whining from the ultra-right wing. Now the American Family Association is grading stores with a naughty or nice classification if they display holiday items in their advertisement without specifically saying Merry Christmas. They think that if the company isn't saying Merry Christmas, they're censoring Christmas. Well, I guess they don't care if the company censors any other holidays that are held at the same time, do they?
Yeah, it's the same old story. Yeah, we're being persecuted because, it's a religious holiday and, it's anti-Christian and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know. It's wearing a little thin.
It's wearing very, very thin. These people, they don't give a crap about any other holidays. They don't care about any of this other nonsense. They only care about their side and fuck everybody else. But let's be honest, who else is complaining about this stuff? Where is the war on Kwanzaa? Or the war on Hanukkah? Or the war on Saturnalia? Or any of the other religious celebrations out there? Nobody else is bitching that people are not going Happy Kwanzaa when they're walking into Target.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with the damn Christians?
I don't know. I mean, I would think, at least from a Christian standpoint, I would be complaining about how Christmas is so commercial. If Christmas is supposed to be a religious holiday, where's the religion in it? I mean, where's the religion out there? I mean, I don't remember anything in the Bible with the book about Frosty the Snowman or Santa Claus. If they have any kind of beef, it should be that there's no Christ in Christmas anymore.
Well, that's because Christmas is really a secular holiday anymore, and they can't accept that.
Right.
This comes up every damn year, and I say the same damn thing. It's like, guys, go to any store, any big box store out there, go to a store and look around at the Christmas decorations, and you're going to see virtually nothing religious. You're going to see Christmas trees and wreaths and presents and wrapping paper and Santa Claus and Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, none of which are religious. The vast majority of people in this country celebrate Christmas completely as a secular holiday. Now, they might go to church at some point, but that's not how they're celebrating it. They're just, making an appearance. The vast majority of people don't have anything remotely religious to do on Christmas. It's not a religious holiday anymore, guys. Sorry. It's just a secular holiday now. They claim this is a war on Christ, but they don't recognize that Christianity's been failing as a religion across the board. What are they going to do in a couple of years when Christianity's barely even a thing?
Right. Oh, exactly. And you know what? Even on top of it, and I'm thinking from the terms of, these stores, that, let's be honest, I think they're paranoid about saying anything like Happy Hanukkah or Happy Merry Christmas or Happy Kwanzaa or, whatever, because of, well, one, they want to get everybody in the store, so they don't want to offend any one group. So Happy Holidays is a safe term for them, and, if you have a beef with, people not saying Merry Christmas, don't blame the stores. They're paranoid about getting sued for being racist or whatever. Everything's just so turned around with this holiday that I don't think anybody really understands what it is really, or as far as I'm concerned, it's just maybe that one day we're nice to everybody. I mean, that seems to be about the only thing that seems to be left in that whole idea.
Well, yeah, but they talk about we want an inclusive term. Well, Happy Holidays is an inclusive term. It includes everybody's holiday. The stores don't have time to have their 90-year-old door greeter guy going, running down a list of every conceivable holiday to every person who comes in the door just so that they don't offend somebody. Happy Holidays covers it all.
Right. What is it in Futurama? What's one of the religious robots, what was it? Happy Merry Kwanzaa, whatever. It's like all of them mashed together into one big word. And, yeah, you can't do that. Happy Holidays is fine. Deal with it, people.
Yep, It works. You have a holiday. You've just been wished a happy holiday. Just because somebody else got wished a happy holiday doesn't mean you get to get pissed off. Yeah. I mean, what does Merry Christmas have to do with the American Family Association anyway? Wait, they're not about the family. They're about pushing fundamentalist Christianity. This is really the American Fundamentalist Christianity Association, hiding behind the family label.
Right.
And this whole idea that they're going to be assigning colors and naughty and nice classifications. I mean, if you look at their list of blue companies, which are the most ones dedicated to Christmas, they include Walmart, Sears, Lowe's, and Hobby Lobby. Okay, Hobby Lobby is a religious fucktard organization like Chick-fil-A. But Walmart? It was only 2 or 3 years ago they were screaming because Walmart was saying Happy Holidays. They were saying Walmart is a horribly anti-Christian company. Now it's one of the top on their list? What the fuck, guys?
Yeah. Maybe they're a sponsor now.
Yeah, they could be. Maybe they're just paying for radio spots, and now, well, hell, we're fine. We'll completely turn our position around, and we think they're great. These people have no memory, but, Americans have no memory anyway,
Yeah.
We don't remember last week.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same crap over and over again. I would almost have to think that it doesn't matter. I mean, it wouldn't matter if, everything went back to Merry Christmas. It's like, it's still, they would be still pissed off. They gotta be pissed off at something, if they got their way, then it's like, okay, now what else can we be pissed off about this holiday? This whole war on Christmas stuff is a joke. I mean, it's gotta be.
Oh, it is, but it's just part of the whole we're being discriminated against nonsense, where they hate us because we exist, or they hate us because we're right, or whatever they're doing. It's the same crap that goes on the whole rest of the year. This is just their big time to ramp up the rhetoric.
Yeah. Captive audience and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I really wish this would go away. It's so meaningless. I mean, Christmas is now so commercial. I mean, fight for the religious part. It makes no sense to me. And then you get the Bill O'Reillys. I wonder when he'll go on the air and talking about the war on Christmas.
I don't know. Maybe he's waiting till after Thanksgiving.
Maybe, yeah. But,
but the thing is that they don't make a big deal necessarily about all the other religious holidays that used to be religious and are now secular. Easter is a secular holiday. It's all about eggs and Easter bunnies and Peter Cottontail and all that other bullshit. They don't get on the radio or get on the TV and sit around and go, oh, it's so horrible that there's a war on Easter. Or what about Halloween? Halloween used to be a religious holiday. It was the night before All Saints' Day.
Right.
Now, it's a completely secular holiday for kids and people dressing up and giving out candy, and that has nothing to do with religion. But you don't see them bitching about that stuff. Some do, but not as much as you get in Christmas. What the fuck is wrong with these people on this one particular holiday? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless...
I mean, especially since it's not even the fucking birth of Jesus.
Right. I don't know if it's because it is maybe more family oriented than the other holidays. So it all plays into family and, all that kind of stuff. Or maybe it's the more recognized, I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. It could be the more recognized holiday. It could be that it's more family oriented, or they gotta spend that last bit of money so they don't get taxed on having made a profit the year, It could be just about anything, unless it is also, I mean, the atheists are not gonna come out of the woodwork and, they're gonna be fighting the nativity scenes and all that kind of stuff. So maybe this is like a preemptive, hey, let's get our name out there before the atheists get their name out there. It's like whatever the fucked up logic that goes through these people's heads.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it, but they do it every year. And you notice it's really only been since the advent of Fox News and Bill O'Reilly and that kind of 24-hour neocon news cycle that they've been having, where they just have to have something to talk about, where they just have to say, well, we're being attacked and we're being downtrodden and all this other nonsense.
Right. Slow news day?
Yeah, slow news season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it happens every single year. It's not just like a one-time thing. It's every single year. You can set your damn clock by it. Yeah. Here comes these religious fucktards claiming that there's a war on Christmas. Well, no, dudes. You just lost. Your religion is falling apart. Nobody believes your shit anymore. More and more people are saying, I'm not a Christian anymore. I'm an atheist. Yeah. It's the only thing they've got to fight it.
Yeah. I mean, even Kwanzaa, it's relatively new, like from the 60s, and it was like a black identity thing.
Right. That's all it is.
And it used to be part of this Christian, those who had celebrated Christmas had decided to, that it's too white, I guess, or whatever, So they created a black Christmas holiday type of thing. So Christmas is lost out. I mean, it's now commercial. I mean, I know the way I celebrate Christmas. I mean, it's family getting together. We eat too much and give presents to each other. And that's Christmas nowadays. Early on, yeah, we would do the midnight mass type thing. But that's the extent of, anything religious related to Christmas. So it's, and now it is, what it is. And, people hanging on to trying to hang on to these old traditions that they're going away.
Yeah.
I mean, get on the bus. Christmas is going this direction, and it sounds pretty bad, but with the commercialization, to me, it's nuts to be having Christmas stuff out even before Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's worse every year. It's horrible. I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
I mean, this year I walked into Lowe's and they had Christmas trees up in August.
Yeah, I haven't been into the Home Depot or anything like that, but you know what? Hearing about, the Black Fridays now, it's going to be Black Thursday. They're going to open up, some of these places are going to be opened up on Thanksgiving Day for Christmas deals. I'm like, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, but they wouldn't do it if people weren't willing to go to the stores and buy.
I don't know where the logic is. I don't do anything to Black Friday stuff, and I'm sure as hell not going to, I've worked my ass the past 2 weeks just to have this long weekend. I'm not going to be standing in a fucking line on Thanksgiving Day while my dinner is getting cold to get the latest, greatest, the cheapest, whatever out of Walmart. That ain't going to happen.
I will not leave the house this weekend at all. I will not go anywhere. I'm done. My Christmas shopping is done. It's done in October. So I have nothing. I've got a couple things I'm waiting to show up from Amazon, but otherwise my Christmas shopping is done. I don't wait for any of these damn sales. I don't pay any attention to Black Friday. I don't go into a mall past the middle of November. I try really hard not to go to any store. If I have to go to like Walmart or something between now and Christmas, I'm going at 2:00 in the morning because I won't put up with the crowds. And then after Christmas, I'm not walking into a store at all until the middle of January because I'm not going to put up with these stupid return lines.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid, but lots of people are, and I don't get these people.
I mean, I love Amazon. I can order everything I need, everything I want, and it all comes to my door. So it's like I have no interest whatsoever of leaving the house, except maybe my brother might be doing something, whatever, doing some family stuff, and maybe we'll go to a restaurant or something over the weekend, but I don't see why people do it. I mean, it's insane that people forget how to fucking drive. They happily stand in line for an hour or hour and a half to get a rain check on something because everything's sold out. It's like, nothing makes sense to me. And what do you save, really? You took a day out of your life. Yeah, you might have saved $50 on that TV or whatever, but, some of the stuff's so cheap, it breaks within a year or two, it's
well,
like,
yeah, my time is worth more than the time I would have to stand in these lines. I mean, It's like the idiots who are standing in line for like the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's like, dude, there's no damn games out for it anyway. There's nothing worth having this hunk of plastic sitting in your living room. Wait for 6 months till the price comes down and there's actually games out there to play. What are you idiots doing standing in line? Fuck you people.
Yeah, and on top of it, wasn't the PS4 that had some issues? They would crash.
Oh yeah, that was the Xbox One.
The Xbox, okay. So, you stand in line, you're getting the very first, which is probably, there's some bug in it, it's gonna crash, and then you're gonna spend months trying to get it resolved or whatever. It's like, none of that makes sense. Standing in line for an iPhone, I'll wait. I mean, I'll happily wait for whatever, if there's something, if I can order it online, and I'll even order in advance. I have no problem. I mean, I'm waiting for my Archer, season 4 discs to show up. I mean, I'm happily doing that, but it's, the commercialization, all this stuff, and these Christian groups that are saying that, we're taking the Christ out of Christmas. Well, first I would think you'd want to put Christ back into the holiday before you can argue that it's being taken out.
Well, you got to remember these people wouldn't stole a pagan holiday to begin with.
Right.
It's not like they came up with their own damn holiday. They stole it from somebody else, and now they're pissed that somebody stole it from them.
Yeah. That's probably it too.
I don't know.
I don't want to be in their heads trying to figure out that logic.
Yeah, there is no logic in their heads. We unfortunately know that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go from one craziest to another craziness.
Oh, yes.
Remember this one from 2002? Caused quite a stir at the time. You take a $20 bill, fold it over, and it resembles an image of the burning Pentagon on 9/11. And then, of course, flip the bill over, and it appears to show the burning twin towers of the World Trade Center. Some people said, you had to use your imagination to some extent to see this. Others saw it as a chilling prophecy of what was to come, bearing in mind that this $20 bill was issued in 1998, 3 years before the 9/11 attacks. Well, now with the recent release of the new issue $100 bill, one video blogger sees similar hidden messages in the 9/11 vein in the new issue $100 bill. According to Jonathan Kleck, if you fold the $100 bill in the same way as you folded the previous $20 bill with the 9/11 symbolism, it actually shows nuclear devastation and then some kind of tidal wave flooding through New York as seen in the movie The Day After Tomorrow. Here's the flip side of the $100 bill, which, according to Kleck, shows some kind of missile hitting the ocean with this plume surrounding it, causing some kind of nuclear devastation, which then leads to the mass flooding of New York City.
This tickled my conspiracy bone a little bit. A new conspiracy theory has emerged with the release of the new $100 bill, but many have debunked the bogus claims with simple scripture. Now, there's a guy out there, he thinks that there's these secret messages. If you fold up the $100 bill, it's supposed to depict the end of the world. Revelations, the whole, all that kind of crap. And this guy is a self-proclaimed prophet. And oddly enough, the Christians have come out and debunked him. Obviously, if you've watched the video, we're going to have a link to that, right?
Yeah, I've already got it on the site.
Yeah. So we'll have a link to it. If you watch it, you'll see him, and he's folding it in all different forms and different shapes and different, whatever, and saying, well, see, he's trying to tell a whole story about how the world's coming to an end, the great flood that's going to come at the end, all this stuff, and it's like, dude, it's just so funny. I mean, I know people have done this, I think the one joke, what drug was, George Washington's on. So if you fold it just right, you can make his head look like a mushroom. I don't know if this is technically pareidolia, but you're kind of taking advantage of that kind of stuff. And it's just, where did this come from? How did you get this? What brain cell in your head fired to make you come up with this ridiculous concept? And it's hilarious. I mean, the guy's like, yeah. And see, if you fold it this way, it does this, and it shows this, and here's the pentagrams, and there's that, Illuminati, Freemason crap that they like to, see if you fold the dollar this way, you can see all the symbology, and of course all the writing on it has some type of Freemason related, the all-seeing eye, all that kind of stuff. And it's like this, it's the same paranoid crap that comes out. And apparently this is like I don't know if this is the first of it, but it's just so ridiculous. I bet you if I spent a month folding up a dollar bill, I could probably make up a whole story that, evolution is correct, whatever I want fit in. I mean, and that's what I'm guessing. This guy probably sat in a room, probably covered with tinfoil and a tinfoil hat, and, folded this $100 bill until he got the story he wanted out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this isn't anything new. This guy's been doing the same thing with pretty much every denomination of bill we've ever had. So this guy is really into this, and it just goes to prove that there's crazies all over the place. But
Yeah.
he's claiming that this is evidence the U.S. government is going to nuke New York City. Well, if that's the case, why the hell would the U.S. government hide this evidence on a $100 bill? I mean, are they trying to warn people? And why are they trying to warn people if they're going to go nuke the city? And if they're trying to warn people, why would they not use a lower denomination? After all, most people never handle a $100 bill. So that makes no sense to put it on the 100. Aren't there more efficient ways to warn people? and if they're going to do it at all, why warn people? Why not just not do it?
Exactly. It never makes any sense. I just listened to Dunning's JFK show, and he has the conspiracy's 3 laws. The authorities' version of events is untrue by default. Everything that differs from the authoritative version is more likely to be true. And all evidence that contradicts 1 and 2 are part of the conspiracy. This guy is probably so convinced the official story. Why would we want to nuke New York? Oh, that can't be true if that's coming out of the government. So the government is going to nuke New York.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy's just...
There's like this logic that the government lies. The government's not going to nuke New York. So that means they're going to nuke New York. And us who are trying to say, no, that's not true, we're all part of the conspiracy. So no matter what, he's right.
There's about 315 million of us who are part of the conspiracy then, because we all think he's nuts.
Yes. And I want to say paranoia, maybe schizophrenia mixed in there. I'm actually finishing up that John Ronson book, Them, where Ronson talks to many of the crazies, the extremist groups, and I like how he does the book. It's like, he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, what do you mean by this? Cause he talked to this sheikh or whatever, this Muslim in England who what did he do? He's been stirring things up, trying to bring Sharia law, one of those that try and bring Sharia law to England. And this guy's like totally oblivious. Everything he says, he's just like, oh, this is the way it's got to be. We're out to destroy England. We're trying to turn England into an Islamic state. That's what we want. That's what we're going to do. And we will happily strap bombs to us if it means that gets us where we need to be. And it's like, you're doing more harm than good, and it's, oh, no, it's okay. It's, when you send these kids with the bombs, to blow this up, I think they sent like 4 letter bombs, all this kind of stuff, that they were doing. But then he's like, but then he goes, I had nothing to do with that. Even though he's promoting it, and all the posters seems to have his phone number on them, it just amazes me the disconnect, the mental disconnect these people have to the real world.
Yeah. Well, they don't call it cognitive dissonance for nothing.
True. It amazes me, actually, when I'm looking at conspiracies, I'm like, how do you get this stuff? Where does this come from? How did you come up with this? This $100 bill is supposed to be the end of the world, and, a nuclear bomb going off in New York. I don't see it in the video where he comes up with that. It's all the pareidolia, and if you look at it hard enough, and I can't see anything until he says, well, yeah, you see the atomic bomb, and says, oh, now I can see what he's talking about. I would never have seen it if he didn't say it. That's classic pareidolia, how it works.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, these people are not taking the $100 bill or the $10 bill or whatever denomination he works with at the moment. They're not saying, I learned something from looking at this bill. They're taking the beliefs that they had long before they ever touched the bill and finding some way to justify those beliefs based on whatever they can create using the bill.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not starting with the bill and learning something and saying, oh, look, they put clues in here, and here's how I discovered this conspiracy. They're saying, I already knew about this conspiracy because I made it up, but I already knew about this conspiracy long ago, and this is just proof that I'm right. I mean, that's how all conspiracy theorists work.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I love Alex Jones talking about the Watchmen, the movie The Watchmen. He's saying, this is the roadmap. This is what they're going to do to us, Okay, they're going to get superheroes to build a secret base in Antarctica, to blow up the big cities and
Yeah, let me know when you generate Dr. Manhattan, okay?
yeah.
When you have a giant all-powerful blue guy, let me know.
Then I might believe you.
Probably not, but that's a good start to proving you actually know what you're talking about. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, because this is just too insane.
Yeah.
All right. We don't do a lot of good news around here, but I guess we'll make an exception this time. Texas, that religious wingnut paradise, has been trying to make their science textbooks more creationist friendly. They adopted science standards that completely rejected evolution, and textbook manufacturers responded by universally refusing to produce new textbooks that reflected those standards. Now the Texas School Board has been forced to adopt textbooks that accurately reflect biology and science, mostly because there aren't any other alternatives. Good job, Texas, for once. Yay!
I mean, it didn't have to come to this, but hey, I guess it's one thing to try to wield the hammer, I guess, with the major purchase and, book companies kind of bowing down to it. But then when the book companies said, wait a minute, what you want us to put in our books is all bullshit. We're not going to do that. And probably couldn't get anybody to create a book like that. So it's like, fuck you people. We're gonna sell books that has the truth in it. And now Texas had to suck it up and, now they gotta teach, reality instead of, fantasy.
Yeah, well, I mean, all 14 major publishers told Texas to go pound sand. And I think Texas just overestimated their power. They thought, well, hey, everybody's gonna have to adopt our books because we have such huge buying power. They forgot that they don't have any control over the publishers, and the publishers don't have to do what they want them to do. And the publishers all said, you're a fucking idiot, and we're just not going to do it at all. I mean, the Texas Freedom Network presented more than 300,000 petitions against creationism in textbooks. And that's really what turned the publishers around, where they just said, no, we're just not going to do this. Even the people in Texas don't want the Texas public schools to adopt this crap. And they were even arguing over such little things at the end, where they were going, which textbook should we pick? The one that says the Earth is 4 billion years old or 4.2 billion years old? Well, guess what, guys? Neither book says the Earth is 6,000 years old. It doesn't matter. You guys lost. And then they're over there quibbling about these little tiny details that don't really mean anything, because they just, they didn't want to adopt any book. They wanted to keep putting it off. And they even put off the vote until like 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday, because they didn't want anybody to show up and vote on it. They would rather have Texas not have any textbooks than to actually have to deal with what's actually available on the market.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's great news. Sometimes the good guys win. The problem is that they're just going to keep on trying. They've got a big market in Texas. There's a lot of creationists in Texas who are just going to keep pushing for religion in the classrooms, just like they did in the history classes and the social sciences classes, where we just don't talk about Thomas Jefferson anymore.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be a mad rush to homeschool and that type of thing. That's the only thing that really would concern me, is that those who really did want creationism taught in the schools. I'm probably overgeneralizing it, but I think homeschooling is where you get Christian wingnuts who want to make sure their kids learn the truth that the earth is only 6,000 years old, that type of stuff. They don't want them to learn how old the world it really is, and, the idea of creationism and all, or evolution and all that. So I'm sure there's going to be that backlash, and then hopefully the other states are going to realize we may want to teach creationism in our school, but we might not even be able to get books to teach it. Maybe there's a wake-up call on that front. That's just all I'm hoping for.
Well, I mean, the states really can't get away with teaching creationism in public schools. That's already been decided. If Texas would have gotten this done, they would have gotten the shit suit out of them, and then they would have had to take it out and buy all new textbooks. There are religious textbooks that religious schools can buy, pandas and people and all that other nonsense that they can buy, but they're not on the authorized list that any of these public schools can buy. So they were trying to force the public school textbook manufacturers to create something that they could use that was, the same thing as these private, non-authorized textbooks. And it's a good thing that they couldn't do that, and now they're stuck for the next how many ever years these textbooks go for. I don't know what it is in Texas, 3 to 5 years or whatever before they have to go back and rebuy textbooks. And hopefully by that point in time, maybe Texas will come to its senses. Probably not, but maybe.
You can hope. Always hope.
Yeah, well, you have to, because Texas is just a disaster. I mean, there's a lot of people in Texas who want to secede from the Union, and I'm pretty okay with that, to be really honest.
I don't see it being a big deal if they went away.
Well, no, I mean, if you can secede, the land stays here, everything in the state stays here, but you're welcome to leave. Take a hike. Walk out into the middle of the Caribbean and, find an island and live there. I don't give a crap, but you don't get to take our stuff. Sorry, that land belongs to the United States. It doesn't belong to you.
Right. Well, even if it did, then we just repossess it all.
Well, yeah, most of these people are probably living in trailer parks and, on welfare anyway.
Yeah. Say, hey, we built all these wonderful interstates for you, pay us back. You can do that on all your oil properties and all that kind of stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would never happen.
Yeah. I mean, but it would be nice if they would get a clue that in public schools you can't teach creationism. You could do it in your Sunday schools or your prayer meetings or whatever. You could do it in your churches. Teach creationism. But public schools, just keep it out. Teach it in your, the Sunday schools or the, whatever. Or send your kids to a private school or whatever, or some type of school that will teach it. Or homeschool your kids. But public schools, we want factual, real, actual information.
Yeah, well, it's not even just creationism, though. I mean, you don't teach creationism for the same reason you don't teach about unicorns. It's got no evidence. It's not supported by reality. These people don't get that. They act like they're being attacked and oh no, you're discriminating against us because you're teaching things that we don't believe in. Well, yeah, because you believe in stupid shit. That's what it comes down to. You believe in stupid shit. For the same reason we don't teach Muhammad was flying around on a winged horse. For the same reason we don't teach the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot or Raelians or whatever it is that you want to believe. When you believe stupid shit, it should not be taught in the classrooms. That's why we're trying to teach our kids about reality, not about your stupid religious fantasies. Same reason we're not teaching kids how to fold $100 bills to learn about conspiracies.
Right.
That doesn't belong there.
Right.
It's not discrimination, it's reality. Wake up and learn some reality.
Definitely. Yeah. If you have to teach creationism or you got to teach some of this stuff, teach it in a mythology class. Teach it in a religion class, not in science. You don't teach it in a science class. You teach it in literature class or that's fine. And it's kind of hard to argue that the Bible isn't a driver. I mean, it has driven people to think and do, create great works. You can't use the Bible as the get-all for science and history and all that. That's mythology. It could be taught as literature. It could be taught as anything else, but you can't teach anything science or history. I mean, that's what I think. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not wanting to throw out the Bible as literary work. You just can't use it as a science work or as as accurate history or anything like that. So it would be nice if Texas would wake up and realize we want truth, reality, the facts taught. You don't go into a math class, 2 + 2 don't equal 5, just because you want it to equal 5. Do you teach it? No. You could probably make philosophical or, in philosophy, argue, well, what is 2 and 2 equal 4 or 5? And you can probably come up with all sorts of discussions on that and all that, but it's still not science. It's still not math,
Yeah.
That type of thing,
Yeah, we don't go out and teach the Bible as a means of science any more than we go teach Lord of the Rings as a means of proving there are orcs. It just doesn't work that way. These are books. These are literary works these are not scientific textbooks, and these people need to learn how to tell the difference. Otherwise, maybe we should walk in and start teaching people that Gollum is real because it says so right here in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, we beat that one up pretty good, huh?
Yep. All right, well, let's go ahead and finish up the news.
I think the redefinition of civil marriage in Illinois also highlights that there is a growing disparity in the understanding of what the state means by marriage and what the church means by matrimony. The institution of marriage is already endangered in many ways, not just by same-sex marriage, but in fact for decades with the growing acceptance of divorce and the number of people who are divorced and children growing up in families without a mother or father, without both a mother and a father, that the families already experienced a lot of difficulty. I think that adds to this, and I would describe this as that is objectively sinful. I'm not going to talk about any individuals or call anybody a sinner. That's when I say something is objectively sinful, there's also the question of your own subjective approach. I don't know what's in a person's mind or in a person's heart, because formal cooperation, as I said, is a matter of intention. So you have cases where people don't have the formal intention, but perhaps they're cooperating for various reasons. So I didn't intend this as a political action. I didn't expect the law to be changed or repealed, at least not overnight. I would hope that someday that might happen, when that might become politically expedient for that to happen. But for now, the main emphasis really is on asking for forgiveness. My homily really spent a lot of time on focusing attention on mercy, forgiveness, repentance, and a change of heart. And that's really what I'm praying for.
This is an interesting story, and Illinois, I guess, just signed a gay marriage bill. When this article came out, it was right before the governor signed the bill. But we got an Illinois bishop plans gay marriage exorcism. Apparently this bishop in Springfield, Illinois, Bishop Thomas Paprocki, will hold an exorcism ceremony in reparation for the sin of same-sex marriage. He's the bishop of Springfield, Illinois, which is the capital of Illinois. And, okay, kind of late, the bill's going to get signed. Illinois is a Democratic state, so Quinn will definitely sign it. So he's going to have an exorcism to get rid of whatever demons that have caused this bill to pass the state house and get signed in. And I'm like, being from Illinois, this is kind of a scary story because I'm starting to notice a lot more religion being kind of forced out. This story here, it probably goes right along the lines of, your standard, we're opposed gay marriage, let's do this exorcism, big whoop, who really cares? It's the Catholic Church. Go back and, I don't want to encourage them to go back diddling boys, but, hey, it seems kind of meaningless. But I do notice that, just driving these past few months, I've noticed quite a few, creationist billboards and, anti-evolution, a lot of anti-abortion, a lot of, I don't know if there's a campaign starting up in Illinois. And, to me, I'm southwest of Chicago, kind of rural, so I kind of expect a few little anti-abortion stuff. But there seems to be a lot more, and there's been groups at street corners holding placards of, aborted fetuses and, how terrible abortion is and all that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if this is a sign that Illinois may be getting ready to flip back toward a more religious. I hope not.
I wouldn't say so, because that kind of stuff happens all over the place. And I think it's more a sign of these people giving their last hurrah than it is a large number of people actually changing to that perspective.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's that, but it's just that Illinois over the years had always been kind of, religion hasn't been really, it's not like, I think a lot of our stories are coming out of Texas and, the Southeast, California. A lot of the stories I keep hearing is like Arizona, that's, the New Agers, New Agey types. And certainly, a lot of these stories, it's been North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. We've got television with the Amish, the Amish mafia, there's a lot of those Amish shows and the snake handlers and all that kind of stuff. And when I did travel to Texas and Georgia, I've been to the Carolinas, even Western New York, there was a lot of religious influence, but Illinois, around Chicago, there wasn't. Even though there's a couple seminaries, the Northern Baptists are centered there. I think, if I remember right, Chicago is either one or two, the second largest diocese in the U.S., or had been. Where I'm at, there's a heavy Polish, so they're very Catholic, a lot of Irish, again, those were Catholics. So I think for the number of people who had religious, it was very low in terms of, the anti-abortion, the creationists, all that kind of stuff. It isn't as I want to say, I don't know if per capita is a good word, because I don't know. I don't have numbers. But it seems like for the number of people, in my area, the religion was a very low priority, low profile. But now it's becoming more higher profile. And again, it could be just, somebody just deciding, hey, let's do a national campaign and put these bulletin boards up, So I don't really know what's going on, but the only thing I'm really concerned about is that there may be, like every 30 years as a new generation comes along, that the thoughts change, the thought patterns. Maybe that there is a resurgence in religious belief in this area, and of course people trying to cash in on it, because I see a lot of ads for a lot of the various churches in the areas and things like that. So it's kind of like one of these things like I'm wondering what's happening, because I've also noticed a lot of chiropractic offices have opened up. There's a Reiki studio in the mall. I took a picture so I could find them again. There's a paranormal investigator car. It's actually right on the side, paranormal investigations, and it had a local phone number on it. So it's like, okay, we got local Ghostbusters coming in now. Where I'm living, is it going into a new phase? Or is it just people jumping a bandwagon and saying, hey, let's chase ghosts. Let's be evangelists. Let's, whatever. So, that's my question.
I would argue that they're probably just jumping on the bandwagon, because this is happening all over the place. You've either got the Ghostbusters that are out there taking advantage of the fools, and that's also a lot of the evangelists and a lot of the other stuff, or you've got the people who never really made their beliefs public, who, now that the internet is out there and all this other stuff, well, they're just saying, hey, we can get out there, we can advertise, and we can make a buck too. I'm sure nothing is really changing, and a lot of people are really freaked out because religion is going down the tubes. And the more it goes down the tubes, the more the fanatics come out in droves and try to get people back into their churches and back in their pews.
Right. That's why this article with the Illinois bishop, I would expect that to come out of somewhere else, I guess. Maybe California, maybe somewhere in the South. Of course, there's not too many Catholics down South, but you know what I mean? But it's seeing this article, it's like, ooh, I wonder if there's something in the works. It's like, is there something that I should be keeping a closer eye on, being home state and all?
No, I don't think so. And I think this whole thing is just ridiculous, because obviously this exorcism didn't work because the governor still signed the bill. Gay marriage is legal in Illinois, and God didn't come down and stop anything. So apparently this exorcism was completely useless, and it just proves how stupid Catholicism is. Once again.
Yeah.
But this is another thing where this guy comes out and he says that he's following the Pope's guidelines. Well, the Pope has come out and said it's not the church's job to condemn homosexuality. What's this guy doing? We talk about this over and over and over about all of these, like, rogue popes, or not rogue popes, but rogue priests and rogue bishops all over the place who are doing things, and the Pope is going, nope, that has nothing to do with us. Last July, when he came out and said that the church can't judge homosexuals, he said specifically that The church has the right to express opinions, but it cannot interfere spiritually in the lives of gays and lesbians. So what's this fucktard doing? And how does he think that he's following the Pope's guidelines? What, what newspaper is he reading? Because it's obviously not the one the Pope's writing. Exactly.
And with the craziness that's coming out of that Pope, it's like, he says one thing and then all of a sudden, oh wait, but he, the Holy Father meant this, it's like, how do you even know what's really what the Pope is saying, and yeah, and it's just, like I said, it's just this insanity. And I mean, this guy may be just trying to save his church, I guess, maybe. I mean, it's emptying out. I'm just making assumptions that he's not filling the pews, and now he has to say something crazy to bring him back in. And,
yeah. Well, that's happening everywhere, though. We know the Catholic Church is falling apart. We know it. The statistics bear that out, and there's no way to get around it.
Yeah.
But this guy is like one of the leading guys that's pushing exorcism. So maybe he's just a crazy fundamentalist Catholic. Because we've seen a lot of that happening too, with the teenage girl exorcisms and all that kind of stuff, where we're seeing an awful lot of these people who are just sitting around talking crazy talk to make the bad things go away. Because they can't actually do anything.
Yeah.
Prayer doesn't help, and apparently exorcisms don't either.
Yeah. So, hopefully this is just more proof that, how stupid this whole thing is, Because what was it when David Koresh, when he took over the Branch Davidians, he challenged one of the guys. Of course, Koresh believed he was the second coming of Christ, but the guy he was taking over from also thought he was the second coming of Christ. So Koresh challenged him to walk on water to prove that you're the second coming. And the guy couldn't do it, and then ran him off. Of course, no one challenged Koresh to do the same thing, but, and just, of course, you see, what happened after that. He probably should have thought this out better. I mean, because it can't look good if you said you're performing an exorcism and exorcise these demons out of Springfield. I mean, he's right there in, downtown. If he can't, pull this off, then why would anyone want to listen to him anymore?
Yeah, well, none of these people can pull any of this crap off. We know that. They all make these ridiculous claims, and then they fail, and then they make excuses for why they can't do the things that they said they could do.
Well, we know that. I mean, it just seems that, I wouldn't be surprised half that church says, well, at least you gave it a good try. Maybe next time, that mentality.
Yeah, well, the guy's an idiot.
Definitely.
I don't know. Well, we should probably get on to the main event.
Let's do the main event.
This is the main event.
We often hear from Christians that atheists have no reason to celebrate Thanksgiving because we just can't be thankful without God. Beyond the utterly absurd statement, clearly we have the ability to be thankful. But what's really behind this? Are they honestly really convinced that atheists are depressed, awful people that hate life and everything in it? Or is this just another absurd claim for their religious beliefs? Well, it's an absurd claim.
Absurd claim. Cool. Yeah, definitely. It's an absurd claim. This past year has been awesome. I mean, my podcast is doing okay. I got a chance to become a co-host on another podcast. I think work and home's been going pretty good. I mean, yeah, it sucks being on the road, but hey, it's a paycheck. I'm happy. I mean, I've lived lean. I don't want to go into the gory details, financial stuff, but I've saved, I'm back to where I should be. I've saved some money up. I bought myself some toys. Hey, I'm happy. And I'm given the opportunity. I took the opportunity. Wasn't given, but I took the opportunity to start speaking out, stuff that I believe in. I'm hoping the message is getting out. And I'm very thankful to have this co-host spot on the Bitchspot report. I mean, it's about one of the coolest things I've done. My other podcasts, all the other stuff I do, just getting out there. And I'm pretty happy with over the past year, and I'm sure the next year is going to look even brighter, What's the problem?
Well, I don't think there really is one. I mean, clearly anybody who believes that atheists can't be thankful clearly doesn't know very many atheists. Because there's an awful lot of atheists out there who have an awful lot to be thankful for, and they are. But let's look at Christians. I mean, there's tons of Christians out there who spend all their time criticizing everyone and everything around them, who think the world is literally going to hell in a handbasket, and who are begging for the entire planet to die. Are these people thankful? I don't think so.
Well, they're definitely not happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also, how can Christians actually be thankful for anything? Because they believe that absolutely everything that happens, no matter how horrible, is the will of God. My kid died. It was the will of God. Should I be thankful about this? I mean, it's like, thank you, sir. May I have another? Where's the thankfulness in this?
Well, that's the scary part, though, is that, I mean, it's almost like in their twisted world that they live in, that having their child die, you know, I mean, these parents that, you know, we've talked about ones who, you know, the faith healers, they want to, you know, who let their children die thinking that they're, you know, that God will take care of it. And, you know, it's like in their twisted minds, it's like, well, God wanted to call them back. It's like, no, you were just too stupid and too ignorant and too what would be a good term, like, retarded to realize, you know, that this child is dying and you won't take him to a doctor. I mean, to me, that's so horrible, so evil, and you've justified it, but with your God. Yeah, and then they've twisted that, you know, they're thankful that God's looking out for them. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. And they can justify it. You know, it's like, no, you know,
they're really arguing a win-win situation. I mean, Christians are like delusional slaves thanking their master for not killing them arbitrarily for another year. But, you know, if something good happens, hey, they can be thankful that God took care of them. If something bad happens, they must have deserved it, and God is punishing them for being sinful. They can't lose, because no matter what happens, they got some way to spin it so that this imaginary friend in the sky is actually responsible for everything that happens. But that's not being thankful. That's being a fucking terrified slave. It's stupid.
Exactly. I just don't, I'll never get that part.
Yeah, I mean, just before we started recording, I was doing that thing I absolutely hate to do, which is writing all those religious horror show stories. I just cranked out another 4 or 5 of them. And every single one of these is the same way. It's, I killed my kid, but I'm thankful. Or, you know, I beat some guy over the head, but I'm thankful, and God is wonderful, and all this fantastic stuff. I don't understand how people can even look at that and think it's being thankful, or think that there's any gratitude whatsoever. These people are slaves. They're slaves to this ridiculous religious mind poison.
Oh, definitely. And they can't see past that. That's the weird thing to me. This disconnect. I would think, like, I mean, I'm single. I don't have children. But if I had a child and I'm trying to take care of it, and I imagine every parent has done this with their first kid, you know, the kid makes a weird noise and it's to the emergency room. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? You know, they want to do everything that they can for that child. But then because of their religion, you can't do this, I can't do that. And then let this child die from a pneumonia or from from whatever. I mean, it could be just letting children die from diabetes. I mean, stuff that can be taken care of. Cancer treatments, withholding cancer treatments, all that kind of stuff, the blood transfusions and all the religious, whatever. And it's like, that whole disconnect that God is going to heal this child. If you have to pretend that God created these doctors to save your child, I mean, that could easily, if you have to have a God to do it, why do you think God created hospitals and doctors and ambulances and paramedics? That would seem to make sense. Even if I was a religious type, that would make as much sense,
Yeah, but you gotta remember that this mental poison for a normal person, a normal person who has a child, that child is their number one priority. But for the religious, that child isn't. God is the number one priority. They don't give a crap about the child. I mean, they do, but the child's survival is not their priority. Praising God is their priority. And if the child happens to die, well, they've rationalized their way around it so that, well, it was something that God did, and it's really a good thing that my kid is dead. It's not a bad thing. God isn't a horrible, sick, sadistic bastard. God is a good thing, and killing my kid is a good thing, and whatever happens, well, it's all for the glory of God. That's why I say that religion is a mind poison. It kills people. It hurts people. And even people whose kids don't die from it, they're permanently mentally scarred by it.
Or even physically scarred, I mean, that's how fucked up, the honor killings and the acid in the face stuff, that's all. I mean, I almost don't want to do this show because of this horrible mindset, that these people are dangerous. They're evil. I mean, if there's such a, I don't know if you can call something evil, that's what these people are. And those who prey upon it. I mean, again, I'm reading this, this book, John Ronson, and he was interviewing, Butler from the Aryan Nations. And, this guy is ultra hate. Think about the most hateful person and then multiply it by 10. This nothing good comes out of this guy's mouth. And I'm very happy that this is one of the few people I'm very happy is dead. I would love to go and find his grave to piss on it, cause he's just this terrible person, very evil, angry, and the Aryan Nations, the skinheads and all this, all follow this guy, that he himself is a god. And this guy is responsible for the murders of, radio hosts, of that Berg, what's the guy's name? Yeah. I know his last name is Berg. He was Denver, Colorado, radio host. I mean, there's been a number of that guy, at the Atlanta Olympics. He was one of these guys. He was an Aryan Nations nutcase. The guy that set off the bomb there. And these people who've bombed, abortion clinics, they kind of follow that same type of stuff. It's just so much evil. And everyone who's following him is like, this guy can do no wrong. And, they follow him. While Butler wasn't exactly the guy who pulls the trigger on Berg, it was his words riling up people to do this stuff. And, we're supposed to say, well, that's just the culture. That's just the way they are. Fuck no.
Yeah, well, it's like, did you see the recent interview they did with Manson in Rolling Stone? Where he's basically going, my followers never did a damn thing wrong. It was fine to do all of those things. And, oh, by the way, I'm not guilty because I didn't pull the trigger directly.
Right.
And now he's got followers that have been hanging outside his prison for 40 fucking years. This guy is 79 years old and he's getting married to some 25-year-old girl who's just completely starstruck with this fucker.
Yeah, I heard about that where he's going, whatever she wants, I don't care. That's Manson. Cause I think she's convinced that they're going to have a real wedding and all that kind of stuff. And Manson's like, I've never heard of this girl but hey, I'm cool with it. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
That guy's gone.
Yeah, he's crazy. But, all these people are crazy, and you get all these religious fucks. And unfortunately, the whole religious community supports them. I just did a story of, ultra-Orthodox Hasidic Jews. There's a huge problem in these Jewish bathhouses in New York where they're estimating that upwards of 50% of young boys in the Hasidic community have been molested by these older Jewish men in these bathhouses, and anybody who dares to even talk about it gets shunned by the community and, can never walk into a synagogue or can never walk into a bathhouse or can never walk into any of these things because they'll get thrown out and they're getting death threats and all this other stuff. And I don't understand how these people even exist. I don't. How in the world can these people be going, well, they're Jews, they're our people, so that's okay if they go out and rape these boys in the ass. Yeah. What's wrong with you people? And I bet you these people are all very thankful for this.
Yes. Again, it's probably the same as the Catholic pedophile priests. I would like to think of it as maybe, let's say, of the population of the United States, half of them don't care. That's someone else's problem. I've got bigger problems than worry about pedophile priests or pedophile rabbis. Then you got those who, the other half that's but like, maybe half of that might be appalled, but they'll say, well, it's the culture, it's the whatever, they'll make up something. I don't like it, but, it's the way they are, that kind of mentality, it's like, the cultural crap, that type of thing. And then there's probably the rest are like, you can't accuse someone of this. This is accusing them is just as bad as being that, type of attitude. Well, wait a minute. What these guys are doing are criminal. They should be in jail. They shouldn't be protected.
But they're happy to just jump to the defense of anybody who shares their religious beliefs, because anybody who shares their religious beliefs, especially the religious leaders, they can't be wrong. That's why people sit down and go, hey, God can't be wrong, no matter what happens. Typhoon in the Philippines kills a couple thousand people. Who gives a shit? It was God that did it. Let's blame the gays. Come on.
Yeah.
And I bet you that there's an awful lot of those people who are going to be spending their Thanksgiving praying about how wonderful it was that typhoon happened and that the gays were responsible.
Oh, yeah.
These people are just reprehensible. I don't understand how these people can live with themselves. I think they should just all go out and off themselves, because they're horrible human beings for even daring to think this stuff. But it's that religious mind poison, and unfortunately, that's what it does to people.
I would like to think there might be some sensible people who can recognize, hey, I'm religious, but this is wrong. I'm Catholic, but priests having sex with altar boys, that's wrong. This guy needs to go to jail. I mean, I would love it if there was more of that, and go through each denomination and each of their proclivities and their perversions that they seem to be into. And it's like, I'm this religion, but I don't agree with this. I don't believe in, Sharia law. I mean, I'm Muslim, but I don't believe in Sharia law. Whatever it is. I would like to think there's people like that, but there isn't. It doesn't seem to be, or at least those people who are just too afraid to speak out. And
yeah.
It's such a shame that it has to come down to this, where children from 0 to 18, women to old age have to suffer because of these weird religious, whatever, the mumbo jumbo that goes with it. And no one wants to stand up to it. Anyone who tries to stand up gets shunned, kicked out of that group, killed. It shouldn't be like this. I mean, but then again, from my standpoint, there shouldn't even be a religion in the first place to do this,
Yeah, well, I'd be really happy if you would find people from these congregations, when they find out that their priest has been screwing little boys, or, whatever it happens to be, the Amish find out whatever they find out. If the congregation would go out and march this fucker down to the police station and say, here he is, arrest him, prosecute him, we will provide all the evidence you could ever want. But they don't do that. There may be one or two. There may be a very few. But we're not seeing like a mega church where they've got 25,000 people a week in that church, and they find out that preacher's been defrauding the congregation, hurting people, whatever he's doing, lying, whatever. They're not out there in the streets rioting, or, whatever you want to call it, to get this guy arrested. They're trying to protect him. They're trying very hard to say, it doesn't matter what he did, he's still part of our group, and anybody who's part of our in-group can't ever be held accountable for their actions. I'd be a lot happier if there were a lot of people who said, we're more interested in our following our religion's dictates, that it's immoral to do these things, and it doesn't matter who does them, they're still immoral, then we support this guy and screw the rules.
Yeah, that would be nice. There's that senator, was it just got busted with cocaine? The guy, in Florida, Republican.
I don't know.
He had voted to give, drug tests to, welfare recipients, and then he was later busted on a cocaine possession. There's a hypocrisy. I mean, this guy was totally clueless. He didn't think he was doing anything wrong. He was voting it, whatever.
Yeah.
There's, this kind of a disconnect. I mean, he's definitely a hypocrite, if anything. Hopefully he loses his job. I would like to see him lose his job, but, certainly that hypocrisy within the religions where your basic tenets, if you follow the I like Leviticus. I know there's plenty other quote unquote rules against homosexuality, but if you're following Leviticus, that should apply. The whole thing should apply. But then when your priests are violating that, you're going to say, oh, that's okay because he's a priest. That's just hypocrisy in almost a pure form, I would think. Am I off base there or?
No, I think you're right on. Unfortunately, these people all have a very convenient reading of their holy books. They listen to what they want to listen to. They ignore what they don't want to listen to. And we know that's how religion works. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or whatever. I'm sure that there are Scientologists out there who ignore the parts of Dianetics that they don't like. But they shouldn't. If you're going to say this book is handed down by God or L. Ron Hubbard or whatever, then it ought to be all or nothing. But they can't live by their books that way. There's a funny picture I saw not too long ago. It says, let's play a game. Let's just flip open the Bible to a random page, and do whatever it says. And the last person that goes to jail wins. Because that's how the Bible would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't live by what it says in the Bible. And I'm sure you can't do the same thing by what it says in the Quran or any of these other books. Because all of these books encourage behavior that is criminal today. So why do these people believe this shit? Well, they don't. They just pick and choose what they're going to follow. Whatever's easiest, and, they don't go out and stone unruly children because they know that would send them to jail. So they make some kind of a weird rationalization for why this isn't going to be something that we pay any attention to.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. We kind of walked on. We were everywhere, but we always are. That's all right.
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
It kind of throw a lot of ideas out there, and hopefully it means that everyone gets kind of a wide range of ideas there, because it really depresses me, these stories. I hate to have to do these stories. That's what it's coming down to. I really don't like hearing about the children being killed or who die because of whatever stupid rule that some religion has set forward, and the honor killings and the child brides and, you name it. We've done the stories. I've been doing this 6 months, a little bit more than 6 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's the same stories, it's all pretty pathetic. It's these people who, they believe in this book, whatever book it is. They're following it to the T, which means they will, I'm sure someplace they will stone children for being unruly, and we don't do anything about it. It's their culture. It's their, it's their beliefs. It's their, it's where they're from. You can't question it, or it's their religion, so we can't question it. It's God's will and all that stuff. It's like, no, look at it for what it is. It's fucktardery,
It's a good word for it.
Yeah. It's just stupidity. It makes no sense doing these stories. I'm hoping at least there's the common theme. We don't like this. This is bullshit. Anything religion seems to be, even if you can find one thing good in religion, there's probably 20 or 30 things that are bad about it. Like people are saying, if they go to church, they're inspired, they're doing whatever. But then that same church has done so many terrible things, or, if it hasn't hidden pedophiles, or condoning rape or whatever it is, it's like, come on, people, let's try to be, let's get sensible about this. At least, if you can just at least recognize and think about what your religion is telling you, what you believe, and what your religion and what's being done in the name of your religion. I think that's even another important. It's not that it's the religion that's forcing these priests to prey on little boys, but it's the religion, the religion doesn't protect that. There's nothing in there, that protects the priest from going to jail. He should be going to jail. There's nothing in the Bible that says that priests are off the hook for pedophilia. I don't think there is. If someone can find it, send it. I would love to see it.
Well, when Jesus said, "Suffer little children, come unto me," that's not what he meant.
Yeah. Yeah. So, without anything in the book that's, there's no protection for the priest, so why are you defending it? Why are you protecting this guy? You're really, accessory after the fact. Because there's nothing in your Bible that says that the priest can molest children. Which basically makes, if you're supporting them, it's kind of a stretch, but you're aiding and abetting. If you keep that guy in his office, you're perpetuating this behavior and you're condoning it, you're accepting it, and you're in effect saying it's okay to molest children, and if that's wrong.
Yeah, I would argue that anybody who finds out that this kind of stuff is going on and who does not go to the police with it, then they ought to be held accountable. They ought to be held accountable for aiding and abetting in the commission of a crime because they had knowledge that it was going on and they didn't do what they were supposed to do about it. People ought to be required to go to the police and report crimes, period. Pretending you don't know or pretending you just look the other way, that's not acceptable and that should never be anything that happens.
Right.
Bringing this whole thing back around to Thanksgiving though, one thing I would honestly be thankful for, and this is one thing that I wish would happen, is that all the religions would be forced to be responsible for their own actions, either for good or ill. And there are some good things that religions do. Religions run soup kitchens, they help people, and they do all this stuff. But they also do a lot of evil. And we're only out there talking about the good stuff most of the time from the religious perspective, but they don't want to talk about the bad stuff. Whereas I guess we're talking about the bad stuff most of the time, but we don't really talk about the good stuff. I'm willing to give them credit for the good that they do, for the people that they help. If it's actual help and they're not just using, the soup kitchen as a way to preach to the, unfortunate at their time of need when they're the most vulnerable, because that unfortunately happens way too often.
Right.
By the way, people, do not give a goddamn penny to the Salvation Army. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. These various churches and organizations have tried, or they do things. And, I don't want to sound like even though this show is, we point out the bad. I recognize, and I'm sure you recognize, that there is some good stuff that comes out of those churches. But let's be honest, we do live in a society that anything good is okay, yeah, that's cool. But then the bad, that's, if it bleeds, it leads, the terrible stuff. So it really is a shame that we don't see anything good because nothing really good gets reported, unless, within our communities, I'm trying to think what churches, I'll see like kids collecting for this relief or that relief, that type of thing, the churches do collect money. And I think one of the churches, I think our company's working with one to get stuff to the Philippines. So there's good stuff going on too. And and it's unfortunate that all we hear is the bad.
Yeah, but my point is, how can kids not just go collect food without being involved with religion? There's plenty of secular charities out there. The Red Cross is a secular charity, no matter what it's called. Goodwill is a secular charity. There's tons and tons and tons of these secular charities that don't have to use religion. So why aren't we just doing that? I've challenged people for years to tell me one demonstrably true thing that religion can provide for the world that cannot be done equally as well or better through purely secular means. And no one has ever come up with one. There isn't any. We can help the world. We can do everything that we do without religion. Let's be honest. The Philippines right now, they're sending them boxes of Bibles and rosaries. These people are starving. They cannot eat Bibles and rosaries. And those boxes that they're sending over there, they're taking up the space that could be filled on these ships with food. So these religious people are actually harming people by sending the religious crap to the Philippines. And the same thing happened when we had, a couple of years ago when we had the earthquake on
Haiti?
Haiti, yeah. Where they did the same thing. And the fucking Scientologists were sending e-meters. Well, fuck you guys. These people cannot eat your damn e-meters. They need food and water and clothing. They don't need your stupid bullshit.
Yeah. Again, that's the sad part about it.
Tell me one thing that we can't do that requires religion. Just one. All right? The only thing religion gives you is the ability to easily organize. But it's only organization along specific theological lines. you're not going to get the Muslims and the Hindus and the Scientologists and the Christians all joining up together to form a relief effort. You're going to get 4 relief efforts all trying to shovel their religious bullshit into this, they're trying to use a tragedy to push their religion. All of them do it. They're all guilty.
Yeah, and if you did bring them all together, they'd be fighting to get as much as their stuff on those planes versus the others. So I can even see that being worse if you got them all together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, we have to keep bringing this thing back to Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for my life. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for everything that I've got. I'm thankful that I'm alive today. I'm thankful I'm relatively healthy. I don't have to thank some imaginary friend in the sky for any of that. Most of the things that I'm thankful for are things that I directly had a hand in. And that the people around me, I can thank people. People do a lot of good. Even the religious, as we were talking about. People do a lot of evil. Especially the religious, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no reason why I can't be just as thankful for the things that I have or the things that I do or the things that go on in my life. In fact, I've got a better reason to be thankful for it because it's all transitory, because eventually it's going to all go away. So I'd better enjoy it while I got it, because someday I'm going to be dead and in the ground and I can't be thankful anymore. And the religious fuckers, they're going to be dead in the ground too. And all the time that they wasted thanking some imaginary friend, they just wasted.
Yeah. Entropy's a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything I have, I worked for. God didn't give it to me. I worked my way through school. I worked my way in my career. Everything I did for myself. I did it by myself. On occasion, I might need a little help. My brothers have helped me out on when things were a little rough, but when things was getting rough with them, I help, so we help each other out. So I've done pretty good, and I'm pretty thankful that I have a good family. Like I said early on, I'm thankful I have these opportunities to do a podcast and talk to, all these listeners, here on the Bitchspot and on my own podcast, some of the other stuff I've been doing, and this is all I've done on my own. I mean, I am not a professional radio guy, so, I've had to learn. I've done on my own how to work a mic, it's been sketchy at times, but, working with the hardware and the software, and I'm barely handling, WordPress, all the stuff that goes with it, so I'm doing it my own because one of the early lessons in my career, I mean, a lot of these companies, they seem like they suck the life out of you. Some of the bad companies, they take from you more than they give type of thing. But you know what? I keep trying to learn new things as I'm on those jobs, on any job, because the one thing that they can't take from you is what's up in your head, what you've learned. And you take that to the next job and to the next job, and you keep filling that thing up. People that are the good people, even, the bad people that you've dealt with, no matter what, the one thing they can't do is take your knowledge. Learning, that's why I believe learning is probably the key. If you're still in high school or grade school, stay. Learn everything you can. If you can get to college, learn what you can. Fill that head. Once you get out, don't stop learning. You may be stuck flinging burgers at a Burger King or driving a garbage truck. But if you have an opportunity to pick up a book or get to a class, learn. Because, that's one thing that no one can take from you, is your knowledge. That knowledge, if you're one of those on the edge, knowledge will set you free. Religions want you stupid. They don't want you thinking. They don't want you thinking outside their box. But if you get that knowledge, you start learning about the world, start learning about what is evolution. You start learning this stuff, and you're realizing, my church is teaching me bullshit. Even if you want to learn more, I have no issue with people learning through the Bible. I mean, I probably should learn it a little bit more than I know. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous type of thing. I should know more, speak more authoritatively. Knowledge is going to break the shackles of religion. Religion does not want you to learn. They want you to follow their doctrines, their dogmas, their whatevers. Why we have a Taliban in Afghanistan. They don't want people to learn. They don't want people to think for themselves. Because once you start doing that, you start questioning. And when you start questioning, God disappears.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that people learn, but people need to understand the difference between knowledge and faith. Don't believe, find out the truth. That will kill religion in a heartbeat.
Seek it out. Look for it.
And when you find it, test it to make sure it's actually real. And you do that, and religion will be gone in a generation. And that's something to be very thankful for.
Very thankful.
Well, we should probably close up for the week.
Let's close up for the week.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening. See, there's something else we're thankful for. All of our loyal listeners. Remember, we're available everywhere from Facebook to Google Plus to Stitcher Radio to Twitter to iTunes. Make sure you let people know about the show, and why don't you get online and give us a good rating? It makes it easier for people to find our show. We'll be back in another week with another show. And until then, take care. You've been listening to the Bitchspot Report podcast with your hosts, Cephas and Mike. You can follow us on Twitter respectively at Bitchspot1 or at JDRipper1962. Please visit our website at report.jdragononline.com. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/TheBspotReport. We're also on Google+, iTunes, and YouTube. Those links are on our website. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us via email at report@jdragononline.com. Comments, ideas, and suggestions are always welcome. We'll be back next week with another fun and fact-filled episode. Please tune in again.